Hey there, welcome. Today's video is on how to non-meditate. And that might sound a little funky, but in the non-dual traditions, especially in Dzogchen, you can see this a lot in the Ati Yoga teachings and teachings of Longchenpa. We have this notion of non-meditation. Part of the reason this developed is that these are teachers within the Dharmic traditions who've been, which is a lineage or multiple lineages of yogic practitioners doing meditation, different meditation techniques, long periods of sitting, consistent periods of sitting, consistent periods of focusing and trying to see reality in a certain way, or resist seeing reality in a certain way, as like a way to train the present consciousness. And so this is one reason the idea of non-meditation comes up, is because even meditation can be something people attach to, whether it's a technique, the posture, just the sitting, the quiet, the isolation. It's something that can become a limit to the sentient being who's doing it. It can be associated with incorrect habits, things that are just keeping us in illusion, keeping us comfy. And so that's one reason non-meditation pops up. Another reason is that there's nothing that is meditating. There's no being, there's no individual that is doing it. There's technically no specific non-temporal objects or ideas to focus on, and there is no individual pattern that is something we can label meditating. Meditation as a fluid state of being linked into Buddhahood or oneness with God, or realization, is no one thing. It's literally infinite things. There's no one pattern that it looks like. There's no one emotion that it is. Not even emptiness. Not even bliss, or what we call love. What we call even insight or wisdom. It's not even just any of these things. It's boundless. It can be anything. We have no idea what true meditation is going to look like. And so we have this communication of non-meditation. And that's not when, we sit and stare at non-bread. It's when we let everything be. And when we say everything, there's no line between the outside world, our body, our interior, our consciousness, and even our point of view, where we sit in terms of our awareness. All of that, all the way to the unknown, beyond our perception, is what we let be. And you can hear a lot in a lot of teachings, especially with people like Thich Nhat Hanh and the different mindfulness teachings, to be aware, to be mindful, to take refuge in mindfulness while getting up from bed, making the bed, brushing our teeth, pouring our tea or coffee, drinking our tea or coffee, walking, cleaning, dishes, work, traffic, groceries, talking to a friend, listening to loved ones, conflict, arguments, to be in that mindfulness state, that state of present awareness without reactivity. And this is an amazing teaching. It's very simple. It's quite secular at this point. Anybody can do it. It's very approachable. It's very digestible. And at the same time, it's boring as fuck. It's not. It's almost too simple. It's almost, too easy to make a limit of, because it's so simple. It's so easy for someone that is engrossed in that to just be like, oh, all I need to do is pay attention to the thing I'm doing. I just need to feel my hand, stay conscious of my cup and the ripples of the coffee, the warmth on my fingers, the smell in my nostrils, how that affects my consciousness. Feel the weight difference from that sip, feel the taste, feel the warmth in my belly, hear the sound of me drinking and swallowing, experience the subtle abstract sensations of consumption, maybe caffeine, so on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with this, by the way. It's easy to stop there. It's easy to just be like, oh, I just have to do things with mindfulness and then I got it, or I'm good. There's a few things wrong with that. One, it becomes a limit. That's just not the path. It's another thing, It's okay to want that. It's okay to value that. It's okay to even strive for a limited life, I just want to live a life where I have my simple pleasures, I bother nobody bothers me, I enjoy them and make those as sustainable and ethical as possible until I pass away, and then whatever happens, happens. If that's a goal, it's fine. This is a universe that's infinite. God is not fettered by our temporary desires. If that's the life we choose, it's the life we choose. No judgment here. And that can be, I want to be in that little bubble of mindfulness and just feel self-worth from that. And that's the other part, is there's no self-worth from this. There's no oh, I did a mindfulness thing, I can feel good about myself. I did a meditation, I can feel good about myself. I exercise, I can feel good about myself. That the truth about self-worth and unconditional self-love is very different than how it's often enacted. And I'll make another video about that sometime. But basically, that's also just not the way. It's not the dharmic way. It's something that can happen and everybody can find their way from any point of the path. But that continuation of needing, just using these simple teachings, almost because they are easy, to then feel good about ourselves and then never transform, never evolve the consciousness, or never let the consciousness rest in its natural state. We just stay in a attentive state on these limited things and then create this positive reactivity about our self-worth, about ourself through that. That's problematic. That's just going to lead to moments in life that when we face them and we can't control them and they aren't our limited little habit and we aren't attentive and we weren't mindful and we did react, we're not going to feel okay about ourselves. Because we create this habit of I create my self-worth by doing this easy task. I completed easy task of mindfulness during dishes. I'm doing good. Really, we should just have this ephemeral, almost non-self worth self-love, where we don't really think of ourselves as an individual and we just accept life as it is. But that means we also accept the incoming, insight of, hey, let's work together, let's change, let's make a slightly better society, let's face some of our fears, let's, yada yada. So non-meditation is this ubiquitous state, which is kind of mindfulness, but it's actually beyond focused attention. It's not with a specific focus. It's basically an ethereal wakefulness, as best as I can describe it. No word can really describe it, by the way, where you don't really become reactive to the tensions of life, to the tensions of our own thought patterns. They're not actually our own, they're just happening. And we let them duke it out, if that's what's meant to be, or we, let them just leave almost spontaneously. We let them digest themselves. We let thought streams, go into a detailed oriented pattern to figure something out, if that's what needs to happen. We let emotions be creative, so it's not this 12 emotions we know. I picked an arbitrary number. I don't know how many most people know, but I feel like we're pretty limited on the ones we accept. Just like, oh, these are all bad and I'm not comfortable with them, and then I got 6 good ones that I like. Happiness, excitement, peace, love, physical pleasure, So non-meditation, well, one, it is a funky thing to describe. It's an interesting challenge to describe it. Everything in spirituality is an interesting challenge to describe when we know that the thing itself is beyond description. But non-meditation isn't anti-meditation. It's not anti-sitting. It's not even anti-focus. It really is a letting be beyond posture, beyond sitting down, beyond schedule, beyond time frame. And it's also beyond searching, beyond trying to get somewhere. It's beyond goals. And at the same time, it's not anti-goals. It's not anti-visualization. It's not anti-change. It's not anti-searching for something. It's also beyond witness observation states. It's more holistic than that. It's less separate than a witness state. A witness state is like you kind of stay as your awareness in this almost detached witness mode, observing what happens, not really attached to what happens, but you still feel this sense of separation. Those thoughts are patterns kind of over there in the consciousness field, and I'm aware of them, and you create this distance, and it's a useful tool to not get swept up, but it's also not the full reality. And so it's not, non-meditation is an anti-witness state, it's just beyond witness state. And a good way to put it, it's beyond everything, yet it's not against anything. And this can be helpful for kind of dismantling the dualities we experience. And non-meditation is kind of amazing in the sense that when you get rid of that self-worth protocol that we attach to spiritual sadhana, where we feel guilty and bad if we're not doing it as much, I'm not disciplined, yada yada, and then we feel temporarily good and self-accepting when we do some. This it helps transcend this, because you have nothing to cling on to in non-meditation. It's almost so undescript that you have no clear way of being am I doing it right or wrong? You have no clear way of being okay, yeah, now I'm doing it. Or, oh shit, I didn't do it. Is that bad? Wait, did I not do it? That's good to be able to dismantle all those senses of pride and self-agony that we can derive from, ideologies about willpower and action and so on, and comparisons to others. And at the same time, one other beautiful thing about it is there's no time period. If you clicked in for 3 seconds, it's fucking awesome. It's great. If you had the beautiful opportunity to forget and just get swept up in the infinite reality and then remember, it's awesome too. The fact that all that can happen is just amazing. The fact that we can forget our true self, but we're never going to leave our true self, is beautiful. And to remember that through non-meditation, whatever task we're doing, whatever event is happening in our life, whether harmonious or tense, it's just perfect, beautiful aspect of infinity in all of its potential. And that's another great thing about non-meditation, is it doesn't need to look like anything. Like I said, it doesn't need to be any specific time period. And so it almost permeates our day. It's much easier because it has no thingness to just happen spontaneously and to just poke its head out within our awareness whenever. And that's what's happened to me at work, while I cut grass and rake leaves and weed garden beds and cultivate soil and, so on. That infinity just pops its little head out into itself, the part of itself that's just forgetting, and it helps it remember for a bit. Rather than I'm on a clock, I meditate Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 8 a.m. I do it for this amount of time, no matter how bad it feels. I do it at this amount of time, no matter how many other things I should be doing. It's non-meditation bypasses a lot of problems that can happen with a sadhana, which is spiritual practice or discipline. It also bypasses a lot of psychological issues we can have around sadhana, and it transcends limitation so that it's much, much easier to just happen during our day, to happen outside in the world when life is happening, which is kind of where we need it most sometimes. And I'm not going to say my description's perfect at all, but I do feel I practice non-meditation, no matter how ridiculous that sounds. And I do think that there's a place for it, even in people that aren't meditating a lot. And that's because I think just as much as a long-time meditator monk can have issues of, attaching and limiting their meditation practice, and they need something beyond that, like a guru or teacher displaying non-meditation, the person that is maybe more weak-willed or, more just distracted, like in modern life, like a lot of us are, and at the whims of our impulses and pleasure-driven patterns, non-meditation also has an extremely pleasant place here, because I think we're so easily going to turn meditation into something wrong, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, just something to make ourselves feel worthy, and then we don't do it seriously, we don't do it enough even, we don't even practice it right, we don't ever face our shadow, or we do face our shadow once and then we're great, we're good. We're just so prone to these instant gratification things that non-meditation can almost help reach us where we're at when we are there, whereas meditation in an instant gratifying way, like an actual trying to do a sadhana, it's almost useless. It's just so feather light that it just doesn't really make enough of an impact in our entrenched habits. And so try non-meditation. You just let things be. You are both the witness of things, you are the things themselves, and you're none of that. You're not even the witness, you're not even your focal point. and without creating more limits and ideas and words about astral bodies and out of body awarenesses and, you know, spirits and stuff. If that happens, let it, but kind of be this permeating beyondness, all inclusive. And let that pop up, even if just for 3 seconds, even if just for 20 seconds, even if it took 3 hours between those moments. No self-judgment, no self-worth, no self, just let it be. And it creates a lot of interesting experiences. It lets insights do their work. Insights are often just the universe, you know, trying and experimenting for sentient beings to remember that they are also the universe. So, thank you so much for watching. Om Sai Ram.